Hello everyone, it's the 13th week in Ordinary Time and this is Extra-Ordinary. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Extraordinary, the time at the start of our week where we look at what's happening in the church's calendar, who we're celebrating this week. This week's word of the week is decisions, which is sometimes known as right judgment, which is a gift of the Holy Spirit. And the reason it's a gift of the Holy Spirit is because the Spirit helps us make decisions. The Spirit guides us to making the right decisions and is always here with us. And it was also certainly with the saints that we're celebrating this week. So let's take a look at who's coming up. So on Monday, we're celebrating the feast day of Saint Irenaeus, who was a bishop and martyr. Now, he was a bishop around in the 2nd century, around 100 years after the happenings of the Gospels. And he argued against a lot of the controversies of the time because he was a well-trained student and was very patient in his investigations when he was looking at what was going on with these controversies. But Saint Irenaeus had to pray for the Holy Spirit to guide him in those decisions he was making, that what he was saying about these controversies was the right thing and he wasn't making any wrong decisions. So he certainly had that theme of decisions in his life quite a bit. On Tuesday we celebrate the feast day of Saints Peter and Paul, who were both apostles, and this feast day is actually a solemnity, which means it's a really, really big feast day and an important one that we can all celebrate. Now, Saints Peter and Paul are massive figures in the church because they were instrumental in spreading the good news of Jesus and telling everyone about the church that we're a part of today. They faced lots of challenges in their lives and hard decisions, but they had the Spirit with them. They prayed for the Spirit to be with them and to guide them to make the right choices in anything that they did. Hence why we have this church here today. Peter was our first pope, and Paul wrote so many letters to different people telling them the exact same thing. Finally, we move on to Saturday, which is the feast day of St. Thomas. Now, St. Thomas was an apostle, and he knew that at the ascension, when Jesus returned back to heaven, that God would always be with him and the rest of the apostles and the church. Even though Christ wasn't with them physically, even though Christ had returned up to the Father. Now, when we look at the story of doubting Thomas, which is another name for St. Thomas the Apostle, he also knew that we could turn to God at any point in our lives, whatever is happening around us. Christ will never reject us. Thomas didn't believe that Jesus had risen from the dead until he'd seen Jesus himself. And yet Thomas is still in heaven. He's still a saint. This shows us that we can turn to God at any point in our lives, no matter what is going on, no matter what we've done in the past or how we're feeling. God will always be there for us, but we have to make the decision to turn to God for guidance in our lives. So this week, your mission is to actively turn to Christ in our lives, in any decisions that we have to make. Let's turn to Christ and look for that guidance that He's giving us. I've been James, and this has been Extraordinary. See you soon!